नमस्ते। यहाँ मेरे विषय से संबंधित बहुत अनुभवी लोग बैठे हैं जिन्होंने इसकी ऑलरेडी प्रस्तुति दे चुकी है। उन सबको मेरा प्रणाम। और डेलीगेट्स जो भारत के अलग अलग विभागों से और राज्यों से आए हैं, आई कैन सी अतुल्य भारत एंड अद्भुत भारत। नमस्ते, जय हिंद। I know right now you all must be thinking biodiversity, ethical practices, and eco-terrorism must be sounding so heavy, and it is. But I can give you a word that I'll try my best to make this conversation as thought-provoking, as amazing philosophical thought, and maybe, just maybe, as entertaining as your favorite meme. Before I start, I would like to say I will divide my topic in two areas. First is biodiversity and ethical practices, and second one is eco-terrorism. So let's start first part. Before I start, I want to do one exercise with you. I request you all to close your eyes for 2 minutes. सोना नहीं है, बस 2 मिनट आंखें बंद करनी है. I'm gonna talk as a layman, the way layman, rather I being from political science background, how I look biodiversity, or the way Mr. Reddy said how we shall interconnect these two topics. Imagine massive intricate orchestra. Each instrument from the booming tuba to the delicate flute plays a crucial role in creating beautiful music. You all are loving it. Biodiversity is that orchestra. And every living thing is an instrument. Lose a few instruments, say some frogs or some insects, and the music starts to sound a little off. Lose too many, and you have got a cacophony, a discordant mess. And eventually, the music stops altogether. You may open your eyes now. What you all understood in this? We human things, we are the conductors of the orchestra. Each instrument from the booming tuba or the flute, or we thought that instrument is us. But in real, we are more like clumsy toddlers banging on the instruments, cluelessly. Often with little regard for the consequences, we clear forest for farmland, we polluted rivers, we polluted air. For what? We are using this biodiversity as our playground for our short-term selfishness over what? The long-term health of the planet. Now, all this situation I said, because here, this all situation brings us to the ethical consideration. Now, do we have right to destroy this species? Or how we are going to prioritize like what is beneficial for environment, what is more beneficial, or what is more important, or for whom and for what? Ethics, empathy, acceptance, responsibility. all these values comes in this picture. I would like to divide ethical considerations in 4 parts. First one is intrinsic value. Can you please? I want to go. Yeah. No, I want to go. I want to go the first page. Yeah. I'll ask you, then you just play. I divided ethical considerations in 4 ways. First one is intrinsic value. Does biodiversity have intrinsic value independent of its usefulness to humans? Second one is utilitarian value. What is the value of biodiversity to humans? And how can we balance our needs with the needs of other species? Third one is intergenerational equity. What is our responsibility to future generation to conserve biodiversity? And the last one is environmental justice. Are the benefits and the burdens of biodiversity conservation distributed fairly? Now, these 4 questions I would like to explain, or rather, these are some examples where you will get your answers. You all are Gen Z people, right? I would like to know, have India seen OG environmentalist? Yes or no? Of course, yes. People from Chipko Andolan, have you heard about it? How can we forget them? People from Bishnoi community, have you heard about them? They were not having Instagram, they were not having TikTok, they were not having Facebook. What they were having? Guts and trees. Compared to them, we are having unimaginable resources. We all are having AI. You are at beautiful place, and that too for something related to biodiversity. How many of you hug a tree outside? You want to be a leader in this particular department. How many of you feel the tree? How many of you talk with them? How many of you accept them the way they are? What I feel in an ethical way, biodiversity or environment, these topics, it is not something rocket science. It's all about you have to love, you have to accept, and you have to just promote them the way they are. I think I would like to give examples again. Of course, now this ethical considerations, ये हमारे ही वक्त में आई है क्या संज्ञा? ये टर्म हमारे ही वक्त में आई है क्या? No. Ancient इंडिया में आप बहुत सारी ऐसे आइडियोलॉजीज देखेंगे जिसमें यू विल फाइंड एथिकल पर्सपेक्टिव टुवर्ड्स अदर्स. And in India, though, you should always remember one important value. What is that? Ahimsa. Ahimsa Tattva. What it is? Yes, respect and love for all beings or living things, right? Living things means not only humans, right? We can find ethical examples in ancient Greece also, indigenous cultures also, but I'll talk more about India. Uh, as I said, Chipko movement was there. What they did, I would like to know कौन थे चिपको मूवमेंट किसने कौन थे वो कलाकार जिस great Mr. Bahuguna, right? So, as I said, he was not having AI, he was not having social media that time, but he was OG environmentalist. Next time, whenever you will talk about OG environmentalist in this field, don't forget to mention these people. They have given a lot to us. Now dignitaries, so many speakers have spoken already about so many technical things. I being from socio-political background and I myself as a wrestler, this is little bit different topic for me, but the platform I'm working for, it is little bit related to this topic. So today I am standing in front of you to give you that one perspective that you all shall think about, because I don't think that you are leader of tomorrow. I think you are leader of today. So आज से ही शुरुआत करनी है. I will end the first part because everybody speaks a lot about biodiversity and the technical things about it. In best practices, I would just like to conclude it that we can do sustainable resource management, habitat conservation and restoration, combating illegal wildlife trade, promoting sustainable agriculture, and raising awareness. It is not important always that we shall expect things from the government. Of course, we shall question them, government doing their job nicely. If they are not, of course, we have a voice to talk about it. But what you as an individual, what you are doing, that also matters. So I want you to think that you as an individual, what you can do in this ethical consideration which is related to biodiversity. I will conclude this by, with one small story. There is a story I heard about little boy who found a wounded bird. He nursed it back to health, taught it to fly, and then released it back to the wild. That boy understood the intrinsic value of that bird, its right to exist, regardless of whether it was useful to him. We need to rediscover that childlike sense of wonder and respect for nature. Now, let's talk about eco-terrorism. Before I start this topic, I want to tell you there is a difference between eco-terrorism, bioterrorism, and radical environmentalists. Today, I am going to talk about actual terrorism. As I said, I'm not talking about those radical environmentalists who chain themselves to trees. I'm talking about real terrorism, the kind that uses violence and destructions to achieve its goals. You might think that कि आतंकवाद, पर्यावरण या बायोडाइवर्सिटी इसका क्या संबंध है? Unfortunately, there is a connection. I would like to mention a little bit that WATO is in 14 countries and we have representatives in mostly in those countries where sadly those countries are terrorist affected. And the data, and of course few government authorities itself do have that data that how terrorist organizations and of course in our country also Naxalites using biodiversity to achieve their agenda. second last page, Al Shabaab or orange. No, last. Or yes, this one. So, I would like to give you international terrorist activism's examples, how that activities at international level going on. First group is ISIS, infamous group we all aware about, how they are using biodiversity for their selfishness, destroying oil wells and pipelines in Iraq and Syria, causing widespread pollution and environmental damage, deliberately flooding agricultural lands to disrupt food production and displace communities, and also fields and forests to deprive their enemies of resource. Next one is Al Shabaab. Al Shabaab is the group जिसको UK deadliest आतंकवादी ग्रुप समझता है in Somalia. What they are doing, they are engaging in illegal charcoal production, leading to deforestation and soil erosion in Somalia, poaching endangered wildlife such as elephants and rhinos to fund their operations, disrupting water supplies by destroying wells and water infrastructure. Boko Haram, you might heard about them. Boko Haram, ये आतंकवादी संगठन नाइजीरिया से है. ये क्या कर रही है? Destroying crops and livestock, causing food shortages and famine in Nigeria, kidnapping and killing farmers and fishermen, disrupting agriculture and fishing activities, turning agricultural lands into battlefields, rendering them unusable for farming. Now there are other terrorist groups also. Like in the morning only, one representative from Colombia, I asked him yesterday that what is the relation between narco, biodiversity, and eco-terrorism. So I would like to tell you the crux. Like there is one terrorist organization, it is known as Guerrilla Atankwadi Sanghatan, FARC. What they are doing? Terrorist groups get involved in the drug trade to fund their activities. They might grow drugs, smuggle them, or protect drug cartels in exchange for money. This gives them a steady flow of cash to buy weapons, recruit fighters, as in of course terrorists, and carry out attacks. Think of it like this: a terrorist group needs money to buy guns. They could rob a bank, but that's risky and of course they will get caught. They cannot do that. Instead that, they team up with drug traffickers who have a well-established network for moving illegal goods. The terrorists provide protection or help that cartels or help to smuggle the drugs for their profit. And they use money for what? For weapons, for recruitments, for their camps. Now, in India also, if we can see, Naxalite groups, there are few examples. And of course, we are in a touch with few officials. जैसे आपने सुना होगा, अभी 31 नक्सलाइट्स मारे गए छत्तीसगढ़ में. और ऐसी बहुत सारी एक्टिविटीज़ होती है. If you find the root cause, if you try understanding their activities, agendas, you will find the same activity the way international terrorist organizations doing, the same way even Naxalites doing it. I would like to give example of, though I have mentioned Jharkhand, Odisha, Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, I'll just talk about Chhattisgarh. In 2018, a group of Naxalite in Chhattisgarh killed a tiger and several other animals in the Indravati National Park. उनका जो कनेक्ट था वो माओइस्ट से था, सीपीआई माओइस्ट, एंड वो हाईली एक्टिव थे वहाँ. एनवायरमेंटल डैमेज उन्होंने कैसे किया? दे हैव बीन इन्वॉल्व्ड इन इलीगल माइनिंग, डिफॉरेस्टेशन एंड डिसरप्टिंग वाइल्ड लाइफ हैबिटेट्स फॉर स्ट्रैटेजिक एडवांटेज और रिसोर्स acquisition, hunting of endangered species for food or trade, damaging ecosystem during clashes with the security forces. ये क्या है? एनिमल एंड बायोडाइवर्सिटी को वो थ्रेट्स कैसे पहुंचाते हैं. एंड एग्जाम्पल है इन discriminate felling of trees in the Bastar region for use as shelter and to impede security forces movement. Last week only, I was in Sikkim, and there I met few people from authority. I'll not go in detail, but I'll just say that trade is something so much active in Naxalite groups, and trade of different biodiversity related products, and again narco also, it's something highly involved to fund Naxalite organizations. How Naxalites group or terrorist groups use biodiversity as a weapon. So economic disruption, forced displacement, fundraising and recruitment, as I told you. Now fundraising and recruitment, like how? So exploiting environmental grievance to recruit new members and gain support, using environmental destruction to extort money from government and businessmen and businesses. Again, there is one more thing, that is psychological warfare, creating fear and panic by threatening environmental attacks, such as poisoning water supplies, undermining public trust in governments and institutions by exploiting environmental vulnerabilities. Now, here I want to add one more example, that you might heard the deadliest attack in Israel, and the Hezbollah terrorist organization did. So जब किसी वास्तु पे या किसी जगह पे attacks होते हैं, so is it only about people are dying? No. वहाँ की ज़मीन बंजर हो जाती है. After our lecture, just Google the North Israel part and attacks on North Israel. You will find that how badly those attacks affected the biodiversity. I just wanted to give these examples. I just wanted to add one new perspective in your knowledge. All these things are there, like I address these points, these problems. We as an individual, you as a leader, what shall we do now? How can we combat this new age threat? First, we need to recognize it for what it is. A crime. I mean, terrorism is a crime. Is it only against humanity or humans? No, it is also against nature. We need to strengthen our laws and enforcement mechanism to deter and punish eco-terrorists. Our government is doing best to punish it. But here I would like to add one more thing, that whenever such kind of problems are there, we always talk that what government shall do, but we also have to ask ourselves how I can contribute for this problem, how I can address this problem. I think we shall talk, we shall have a peace dialogue. We shall address that, okay, this is there. And if you, if we, most importantly, if we think, we need to address the root causes of terrorism, such as poverty, inequality, and lack of education. If you go to Chhattisgarh or Jharkhand or, like any such kind of state, you will, and especially the Naxalite affected areas, you will find these are the common problems. We need to empower our youth. Awareness बहुत हो गया, we need to empower. How we shall empower? We can see the small example like this, the way we have, gathered today. Local level पे भी ये चीजें होनी चाहिए. And again, education is not the only thing. I would like to, because I being from sports background, I would like to add, like this is very, like I always says, there are two powers. We can always find a solution. एक होता है hard power, एक होती है soft power. For hard power, our government is there, forces and all people are there. But soft power किसके हाथ में है? हम लोगों के हाथ में है, right? So we shall always use soft power as a weapon. And when I'm saying soft power and subject like this, sports, culture, and education, these three subjects can work like a weapon. And I would like to mention that we have experimented these kind of sports for peace programs in Naxalite affected area, and we have seen that जो बच्चे radical thought process में डूबे हुए थे, how they convert into soft decision makers as a leaders. So these we feel that sports क्या ही करेगा, but if anybody is sportsman here, or I personally feel you don't have to be national, international player always, but sport can teach you what is right, wrong, empathy, inclusion, and decision making, and that ability can make you to whatever field you will be into, that abilities will always help you. So in conclusion, my friends, the future biodiversity is in our hands. We can choose to be responsible stewards of this planet, or we can continue down the path of destruction. The choice is ours. Let's choose wisely. Let's choose compassion. Let's choose life, and let's love. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions?